Hi friends, I'm Steph. Welcome to my channel. Earlier this year I showed you a little clip where I was working on a couple of scarves, one for my friend and one for myself. They've been done for quite a while now, but they need to be blocked, and so I'm going to show you today how I block it. I know it's probably not the most professional way, but it's how I do it, and it has worked in the past. So this is my friend's scarf. It's a gray wool, and I have a cable pattern knit into it. I think you can see the cables here. And then this is my scarf. It's showing up pink in the camera, but it's actually a very beautiful fire engine red, and it's got what they call the leaf pattern. I only had one skein of yarn when I was knitting this, and so it's not as long as a traditional scarf. It's more like a cravat, but I liked it so much I just kept on knitting it, and I used up that one skein of yarn, and I'm happy with it. I wish, of course, I would have had two skeins to make it long, but I think it turned out really well. Now this one I did have more than one skein of yarn, and it's quite long. So what I need to do right now, come with me. I have a little basin, and I'm going to put a few drops of detergent in there and some warm water, and I'll do the gray scarf first, okay? Okay, now I'm going to squeeze the water out of the scarf. I'm not going to twist it, I'm just going to squeeze real good. Try to get as much of the soapy water out of it. Just squeeze it. I kind of just gather it together in my fingers here and give it a good squeeze all the way to the end. I rinsed out the basin and put fresh lukewarm water in there, and now I'm just putting the scarf back in again, and I'm going to work it around a little bit. It's actually already, the water's pretty clear already, so I know I got most of the soap out, and I didn't have that much soap to begin with, just enough, just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to do exactly the same thing that I did when it was in the soapy water. I'm going to squeeze it until I get most of the water out. Okay, I've gotten the soapy water out of the gray scarf, and now I'm going to do exactly the same thing with the red one. Let it soak for a few minutes in some warm water with detergent. So while I'm soaking the red scarf, this is what I'm doing with the gray one. I squeezed as much water out of it as I possibly could by hand, and now I've got it stretched out on a big bath towel. It is too long. It's really, really long, and some of it is hanging over the end. There are about 8 inches that are hanging over the end here. Here's the towel, and kind of the same situation here. But what I'm going to do is, I've got it stretched out, and I'm going to fold these sides over without curling the edges of the scarf. I'm being careful to move the towel in a position so that the scarf is still flat on the inside, okay? Alright, so I have pressed this and squeezed this just as much as I can. And now I've got a clean towel, a dry towel, and I'm going to unroll this and take the scarf and pin it to the dry towel. What I have here are stainless steel T-pins, and I will be pinning the scarf along the towel about every 5 or 6 inches. And of course the towel is not long enough to, accommodate the length of the scarf, and so what I'll be doing, I'll be just kind of doubling back a little bit here on the ends, on both of them, and pinning that into place. I did exactly the same thing with the red scarf that I did with the gray. I put it in soapy water, worked it a little bit, drained it, rinsed it in clear water, and now it's ready to be rolled on a towel. Fortunately, this is a little bit shorter, so it'll fit on the whole towel. So the red scarf has been pinned onto the towel to stretch it a little bit and hold it in place, just like the gray one was. And I'm going to find some place to put them. It's very humid today. It's probably going to take at least 24 hours for them to thoroughly dry. Good morning, friends. Well, the scarves are perfectly dry, and it is time to take out all of these pins and also to weave in the loose strands of yarn. Here is where I attached a new skein of yarn, and of course at the end you always have the little tails. So that's the next little bit to do. Good morning, friends. Well, the scarves are perfectly dry, and it is time to take out all of these pins and also to weave in the loose strands of yarn. Here is where I attached a new skein of yarn, and of course at the end you always have the little tails. So that's the next little bit to do.